There you go. All right, I need the approval of the minutes from the May 12th, 2022 ABC meeting.
Motion to approve.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor? What's a lively crew tonight?
Board abstains.
Any questions? Okay. Audience submissions? Anybody on the TV? Police locker room facility.
Yes, sir.
Guess we could get whatever update there is.
No, there's a good update.
That's good.
Kevin Delaney is gearing up for a $300,000 request for Jakunsky Humes, either in the next town council meeting or the following. So the basis for that is that kind of big picture chart he did of the phase of the entire phasing, which is like a line item. Do we want to get a detailed proposal from Brian to support that request? Because he was gonna do construction, he was gonna basically do full design, construction documents, cost estimates, everything else, like basically soup to nuts to go to bid. That's what Brian was gonna do.
What's the $300,000 for?
That,
That,
for the
all of it.
entire police, the
Phasing.
lower level, yeah, the whole thing. I think the entire kit and caboodle.
He was gonna phase him out.
He was gonna phase the construction, but I think he was gonna do all the CDs in one shot, and then you have it, ready to go to bid.
So then-
Finish phase one first, or
What's the life expectancy of the CD that might not happen
Yeah,
until 26? So, I'm just throwing it out there. I don't know. I imagine Brian is pretty good, but
yeah.
maybe we won't be able to do it still to get that cost ironed out, but yes, we'll have the drawings. And theoretically, it should change. So, yeah, but
Do you want me to talk to Brian about it, or, I mean, Kevin can go in and just with, the previous estimate on the plan, just request for the, request appropriation.
What was the previous?
It was, I think, you mean as far as.
His estimate?
It was between, I think he had a range of $250,000 to $300,000, Brian.
So it's gonna be 300.
I'm saying 300, why say 250? If he's going to 300, so go to the upper range and call it, including contingency.
Ask him if he's gonna honor his last proposal.
Well, he never did a detailed proposal of the entire, construction document.
Ball truck.
Yeah, it was,
And
well,
you
I'm
should
sure there's a
have-
lot of backup.
So you can do that, so ask him, but then ask him for add alternate to construction administration too.
Okay, he might have actually had a number in there.
And ask him how long he's gonna honor that number. Because it's obviously probably a 2 or 3 year project.
So how much is gonna charge you to each phase if regular phases? And the second phase, the second phase.
He should be able to project like his cost too, if he's gonna give himself a raise or anybody else a raise in the next 2 or 3 years.
So escalation, consider escalation. Okay,
Tell him that's what we have, it's 300,000.
I think he knows.
I'm guessing he does too. Construction administration will be more. Should be that.
So actually thinking about it, if Kevin, that would be before the BBC's next meeting, so. Well, if we get a proposal, I'll send it around, and you guys can take a look at it, if it seems appropriate, or tell me, yes, Kevin can use it as an attachment if he wants to, or just say, it's a proposal, and I wouldn't want to do it. Yeah, but so I've been hearing positive things about their support for it. And I think that the first phase will be a pretty, like, I think he had like $3.5 million. It was a pretty big chunk of the work.
That was
So-
long.
Yeah, the whole storage area, the Sally Mae's. Oh.
So I think probably just financing this second phase, because
Yeah, 3.7.
if he revises his costs, then we have to go out.
Oh, gotcha. Like he says, oh, it's 230 right now.
He's got, I think he's got to honor his, if you have phasing in there, because like, you can't contract this, can't give it over short to somebody that's not competitive.
Yeah, he had actually, thanks Doug, architectural engineering fees 300, clerk/project management fees 150.
Okay, so that's what you're gonna give a change. So they should be going for $300,000. Any time stipulations on that?
Not on this particular spreadsheet. Because it was
No, don't even ask me.
dated February 9th of this year. So, yeah. Thanks, Doug. Okay, we'll start with that.
All right,
And that's all I got.
you still up, how about the senior center?
Senior Center, the mayor and town council, and members of town council, you probably know this, had 2 meetings, public information forums at the senior center on, let's see, last Thursday. So I heard that it was well attended, they got some comments back.
Where's the meeting held?
The senior center. Yeah. And they had a 1 o'clock and a 6:30, so they had the earlier,
Bluebird special?
yeah, the Blue Plate special, the matinee special, and then they had the evening
Strike that
crowd.
from the record.
So that's where they were as far as the town council and the mayor. And then the subcommittee, at Rotary subcommittee report was sent to the Board of Finance, and that's gonna be discussed at their next meeting, which is next week. So I'm not really sure of the next steps after that, but I think maybe the Board of Finance will provide feedback back to the town council. Maybe that's,
So was the Y, representatives from the Y at the meeting?
I wasn't there. Did you go? Oh.
Nope. Does anyone have a firm offer from them, or is it just?
It's a speculative, yeah. They want to learn. They want the land. Board of Ed.
Oh yeah, lots going on there. The town council this week approved using the ARPA money for the school HVAC, actually to move it into the school HVAC account, subject to the Board of Finance. The Board of Finance is gonna vote on that next week. Kevin seems reasonably positive that it will happen. So he called me today, said if you guys wanna go ahead and bid the construction manager RFP, put out the RFP on for the CM, do it, because he already has half the money in the account. And the town council said, go ahead. He's gonna get the rest, I guess, the second half of the ARPA funds by the end, he thinks by the end of this month, if not, sometime in July.
This
So
is
July.
just for Willard,
No, this is for all 3 schools.
all three schools?
Yeah, they have it as an HVAC upgrade account, so it's general enough where you can fix things around.
Okay, so it's gonna be a total of,
5, I think they have 300,000 already, and they put in there $5 million.
total of 5,
Yeah.
down from 6.
Yeah,
Which is
like
a number
they took
big
some
for-
money out or something else.
Okay, so then, how much? And so the $5 million is gonna be used for any school.
Well, I think it's Willard, Griswold, and Hubbard. But I don't know if
Any of those three.
Yeah, any of those 3. I don't know if it extends beyond that, it's not needed anyway, but,
So the way this is would have to work, we just have to take the school and do it first. I can't see you spending $1.7 million in all 3 schools and have all 3 schools 48% done. Yeah, that would be.
Well, wasn't that the plan, wasn't it? Where
Yeah,
I thought it's.
well, are we gonna determine the order of the schools, or is that gonna be
No,
given?
Willard was always first, Doug, what was the second?
Yeah, Willis was always first the oldest, and Griswold and Hubbard are pretty close, so either or.
My sense is I'd like that confirmed, so that there's a unanimity here. Yeah, we have order.
Well, when I asked for, I think I went to the town council to ask for the $300,000 for the CM, and it was tabled. Well, the plan we presented at that time was Willard first, then Griswold Hubbard, and, Griswold Hubbard had become current with this. And Willard is the one that actually has the full, quote unquote, full bid package.
Was the architectural.
Yeah, because the Friar did their work, so it's set up to go.
I understand that.
Yeah.
Agreeing with that, I just want to make sure we memorialize it when this stuff really gets going, because there would undoubtedly be somebody who's gonna raise his or her hand at a meeting later on and ask why we're doing that first and not. School board director. Well, I just wanna make sure that it gets put in print.
So that money, what's this? Is there stipulations for school grant
I think it's just for the school HVAC work.
and associated?
You know what, I'd like, you want more detail, and so I'll have to get
Hard
that.
costs, soft costs.
Yeah.
So is it the ceiling tiles out and that's another budget? So it should be any associated work, right? So anything that's affected by HVAC.
We should get the exact
Going with
language.
flowers or trees or anything like that. Track.
Furniture.
And furniture, no
New
computer,
chair, Doug.
smart boards.
Boards I rock to AC.
Yeah, so, all right, I'll get the restrictions, specific language on that account.
Okay.
But I think Kevin usually will leave it general enough to include associated work. Now, do all the ceiling tiles at all the schools, I don't know if that's it.
I don't think you do that. I think if necessary, pick a room, put new room tiles, either down the corridor or something, and then use the good salvageable tiles to go replace old tiles in the other school. I don't think you're redoing all kind of what you had.
And this kind of relates to the cost estimates too.
Right, so that'd be construction, clerk of works or whatever, side of it. Speaking of Friar, just before we go too far here, what's their schedule on getting the other schools wrapped up? We give
They
them a
have
go-ahead,
not, they
right?
have not been told to go ahead, we just have proposals.
So we have $300,000.
I think there's I thought that Kevin put 300 into that account, because they were thinking the CM RFP would go out first. So I'll check, I thought he had a total of 5.3 and 300 was already put into the account to start it, to sort of like get it going. And now he's moving the rest over, but I can check.
So Willard, we have full architecturals.
Yeah.
That was before we.
And
Yes.
Doug and I think it's still a little loose, but yeah, you could put it on the system.
So basically we have all the cutting, patching, ceilings, tiles.
There's references to it, I don't know how detailed it is, but yeah, there's enough.
The two newer ones are just mechanical.
That's right, yeah, so it does have that element to it, and the front end, the whole front end, Friar just has to wrap it up once we say, or once you say, go ahead, bid it, but it's probably half a day, they have enough money. So yeah, that one's ready to go to bid with, a couple days work. So,
So the plan here was to try to get as competitive as possible and get Willard with bid alternates for as far as our money would take us, right? See if we can get the,
I don't think there's any alternates in that.
no, I
think
mean
it's-
by alternates, I mean Willard and Griswold.
Right,
If we got
but I don't
the-
think that would be, I didn't, that's not in the bid package, that's not how the bid package is specific to Willard. It doesn't say anything about Griswold and Hubbard. The construction manager RFP, and this was, I think, your comments and Don's comments were to put that in there so that whoever's coming in knows it could get added on by change order when they're doing Willard. So I think that was the approach for the CM, but as far as Willard, the actual work itself, I think it was meant to be a prime contract, not a general, right?
So,
No, the CM, in fact, the way that the draft is right now, the RFP for the construction manager has that in there, the language that Don actually talked to me one day about how to put it in there and just say, reference it, throw it in there just so they know, and it gets added in, and actually have it in their work plan, how they would deal with it, staffing and stuff. So if they're going through Willard, all of a sudden, you say, go ahead with Griswold, bid it out. You want the same CM to do it, they're already they have advance notice. It's something in the work plan speaks to them. Oh yeah, we can staff it up, we'll throw on another guy or whatever.
we should be getting money from town council to continue with the drawing, so we're ahead of the curve. Otherwise, the plan is to order equipment. What we discussed was order, getting the equipment ordered for all 3 schools. I have a package, having that.
That was
We may
mentioned,
not take the package all at once, but we need to be able to use that for leverage.
well, that'll come out of the 5 million, but we're talking about the soft cost.
But we gotta get the plans ready.
Prior to do Griswold and Hubbard.
I don't know how we're gonna do that. We don't know when we're gonna go ahead.
We're not gonna know unless we
Well,
draw this.
Well, this
I
is
know.
where Doug and I have been talking about the CM.
So the drawings are gonna have to be pretty specific.
Do you want to bring the and then this is where I'm a little fuzzy with the timing. When do you want to do the CM RFP before you bid out Willard?
Why wouldn't we have the CM and all 3 over a scope of 2 years, right? That makes the most sense. I know it's 3 different buildings, 3 different drawings, but
Yeah, they're gonna be in town, they're gonna know the process, they're gonna do it.
I'm in agreement with that vote,
Okay.
but that's my.
How about you, Doug? Yeah.
Once somebody's
So
on
we
board,
loosened up the language so that a clerk, the works type firm could do the work, right?
Right.
Because we could get a onesie twosie company that could say, okay, this is our work for the next year, and it could be 3 years.
Were you just saying, were you trying to have us purchase the themselves?
No, I think it was more, what's the strategy? Because everyone's talking about it, is it a good strategy? And I think it probably is. I know from your end, you're like, yeah, order this stuff right now.
And you guys are, I think we've already missed, it's got a lot worse since we talked about this 2 months ago.
Yeah.
You're out for a year and a half now.
Yeah.
summer 2023, that we're starting work.
That's what I'm saying,
You'll-
chillers and
Yeah.
big equipment, you're gonna wanna order that as soon as possible.
Well, you'll probably be good for Griswold and Hubbard, but Willard is where you might be waiting for that, that chiller and maybe something else too. Or other things. How about the unit ventilators? Are they I know from your experience, chillers are out there.
Chillers and switchgear are the worst thing.
Yeah.
No matter what manufacturer you get.
So I'm hearing like the CM should be really on board before we bid. And actually Doug was even saying, we should have them look at the drawings.
Right.
Because
Yes, we should.
we know there's holes, we know it's loose, and you could handle that by putting it out and then just respond to everything with addenda. There's gonna be a lot of questions back from the bidders, and at that point, you gotta bring back Fryer and CES. And hopefully it's within their fee, but if it gets too crazy, they're gonna say, hey, wait a sec, we didn't,
Is there a way we can just go out just for CM?
Yeah, I think that's what.
Yeah, I mean, but nothing else, just the CM.
That's the
And then-
decision.
Well, I mean, it's pre-construction services, right?
Yeah.
That's really what it is.
Yeah.
They advise it, sort out.
Yeah. And that would be, I think Doug and I, we would support that. There's a lot of ideas flying around, but maybe having a CM on board as an advisor.
That way you guys can talk to them about how much help that you guys can give them as town staff versus.
Did you send out the last draft of the CM?
I didn't, the last draft, I got some comments, was like change the GC to prime, the CM as an advisor, maybe back off from like the full CM, go for smaller firms. A few other things I was gonna add, and I think some pre-construction, I think the pre-construction end of it is weak right now. So after this meeting, I wanna send that out to you guys again, and we can finalize it, get it out.
And then we need some creative wording as far as the projects. Whether we're not able to get to all 3, but we have to walk away from at some point if needed.
so put that in the RFP.
I think so.
So it's flexible, so, you know.
Yeah, we gotta have some room to get out of it, up to 3 schools.
Yeah.
Up to 3 schools, it's got to.
Would it be paid schools? Upper schools gone? I don't know.
It's gonna depend on budgets, I mean, the rate we're going, could be a recession, it could have people chomping at the bit for it, but,
Yeah.
again, the equipment's not.
Well, maybe what we could do is the pre-construction scope could include all 3. And then their clerk of the work starts with Willard, and then they know that Griswold and Hubbard will follow, may follow, how about that, may follow, but at least you get sort of that,
Yeah, and based on financial climate, I don't know, something,
okay.
right?
Well, at least you get a response back from anybody who wants to be the CM, whether it's gonna work or whether we're, you know, whistling.
Griswold and Hubbard were gonna be out 2 years from now.
Yeah.
There's, I'm trying to think of this, somebody would think, financial in place, or finances in place, based on available finances.
Yeah, like town funding, it's, you know, sort of like,
Well,
it's
it's
not there,
not-
you're not going.
Maybe it will get clearer as there's back and
Yeah, I
forth
think
with the
I have
CM.
some language on that from something else where we said it's based on the availability of town funding and appropriations, and
Town attorney
it doesn't
can
happen,
help
you
us
know,
with some
that kind of thing.
You should probably put like a possible 2 or 4 year guarantee or something.
Hey, Dylan, your comments.
Everything to be developed further upon award of, services.
You had some good points in your comments back. But I must have been sleeping. Solar panels on all elementary schools? They're not there now, are they? There's solar panels on the elementary schools? Who put them up? You guys?
That was done during the performance contract, 2017 energy performance contract.
So are they all over the schools?
A good portion of
Pretty. So is that gonna inhibit an ability to put anything else up there?
yeah, certain types of HVAC system inhibited from on the roof curve.
So the mechanical drawings are all complete. Do you have any issues, conflicts?
That started back in 2015 as well. Kind of one replacement, how do we enhance it, there's good, better, best to do with the Rem PX, ventilator replacement, or the fan coil floor pipe. Look out here, that was done during the performance contract, and that's what was done at the E school, so the E school had a little bit better option because of the air handlers make up air units. So we're kind of unable to do that at the elementary schools because of the solar panels on the roof right now. So this design moved ahead based on not taking that into consideration.
And this screams for getting the CM on board right away. I think. We needed somebody, otherwise you're gonna get yourself in all sorts of things.
So, CS did not know that they had solar on them?
Isn't it all like an exterior chiller and unit
Right,
ventilators?
I didn't-
What's on, I don't know, see, that's where, well, no, all 3 schools have an outside slab on an exterior slab. Yeah, but I don't know where the solar panels, I mean, I'm not,
How much roof work is there?
There isn't any, with
It
this,
looked like any,
not with this design, but there was some conversation on the biggest caveat component is the funding for the additional 2 schools. If it's going to be bonded locally, if we're going to look to the state for reimbursement, there's legislation, it's not active right now, but it's been presented for funding from the state for HVAC air quality. There's currently no legislation, there's no money allocated if the town wants to apply for that grant or how they structure it. But the current design may not meet the criteria to be reimbursable. And it's
just because it's not.
Okay, so the way we're designing it right now, it doesn't affect the solar, but if we have to change it.
So,
Okay.
It fits, but it
one
doesn't
of the
meet
efficient things
the
that
new
makes-
efficiency.
It saves money.
Spend it, but that's not more for this, to say.
Get rid of the panels, so your energy efficiency goes down.
Can't go backwards now.
I mean, we're already.
Unless the council wants to direct us to go backwards.
It was just, looking further, not just ahead, there was questions that I had, like, I'm sure you guys had about detail of existing conditions, how we're gonna do thin brick, type of materials, type of piping. The plans reflect that overlay of architectural hallway coordination, ceiling tiles, flooring, matching paint, all the things that are come up that would be a change order because it doesn't specifically say how to do it or what's there, or what the match is. It's just a concern that if this is gonna go out to bid, I think there's a lot of gaps, holes in it right now with what we have. That we would wanna see on a board.
Investigate and coordinate.
Yeah. Yeah, it needs a good look.
But if this is the case where we already have front and board, that already done that, but something it's not detailed.
I don't think it's detailed.
Yeah, they didn't take it to the full.
But they didn't put those
overlay,
ceiling
yeah,
tiles.
they didn't overlay MEP with architectural to make sure everything works. It didn't get that point.
I think
Are
they,
we requiring the CM to do BIM coordination?
I didn't have that in there.
That's kind of tough in an
Do you
existing
want
school
that?
because you don't,
Scan.
That was how involved we wanted the CM, we wanted, full CA, coordinate the drawings, scope, how far we want to be.
Just to let them change it.
Oh, you mean the conflict,
All of a sudden, we start ripping the place apart, and it's an old school, and you don't know what's there.
And is somebody gonna be on board with a job trailer every day, like the high school, like he answers those questions, to keep things rolling, not.
Yeah, don't forget the headaches that, Mr. Roulette went through, the teachers and everybody complaining
You
about
even
their.
find the school we had low ceiling issues. In several areas. I haven't walked, I've never been inside one, I've never walked in the basement. Never inside.
We know the corridors, all the ceilings would have to come down, the run piping, control wiring, electrical. Things impact that. I remember McGee, when that was going on, that we had
Pull the whole ceiling down.
temporary, fire marshal authorized that there was provisions made, so we can still occupy while ceilings were down. It was.
Everything had to be tied up.
And then if we're gonna, just envisioning that maybe we can set the chiller, run some piping, control wire over the summer, get everything roughed in the main, so that once you start going into a classroom or blocking classrooms, I don't think the kids can be in there during the day, even if it's second shift work. So where are we gonna displace, there's no spare classrooms to displace the children right now.
A lot of empty classrooms in this elementary system.
That's more the coordinating with the CM, the board of, here's what we're gonna do, here's the construction plan, now how can we implement this with the school operation during the school year, because the all summer is, 8 weeks in that, so it's a tight schedule, and then the firm that's chosen, they have enough horsepower to, but you can only have so many people in the room doing one thing at one time, or 12 things at one time, so you guys know how that is, only staffing so much staffing.
So CM should have hourly rates for exploratory, or investigation of
Yeah, it
coordinated
does.
systems.
Yeah, it does
Something
have,
so we can monitor it.
it's the McGee, RFP was a lump sum with additional rates requested for, additional work, additional time, all that stuff. One of the things that I picked up on the advisor is it says construction as on-site construction inspection as needed. Portland High School had full-time, so how do you want me to phrase that in the RFP? Construction inspection as necessary, as needed, or, when the contractor's going full bore, you're gonna need some of it. But if there's little punch list things, do they have to be there? How did McGee go?
On-site representation to coincide with work activities.
So it'll be kind of a flexible, you don't say,
If there's nobody working one week,
yeah,
there's no
one guy's
reason-
there sweeping the floor, you don't have to have an inspector.
But again, the schools, we found out the hard way that somebody there all the time, because there's little niggling questions that were asked. You remember in high school, you've chosen to forget it. That was a horror show for a while.
Yeah, they have a day superintendent, night superintendent.
So, a little different.
Yeah. And these are younger kids, everybody's gonna be hovering
I
on.
was afraid of jackhammer and saw cut and steel saw, there's all kinds of stuff.
The other thing, was there anything in there, commissioning,
Yeah, commissioning agent, yeah.
third party commissioning agent after it's done? It's a big mechanical system, sure it's dialed in.
That's, now that would be on the CM scope. I think it's in the CM RFP, I forget if it's there on their end to do that or not. Anyway, I'll check. I know there's a reference to a commissioning agent,
Sometimes it's like outside of the scene.
like the third party.
Third party, 'cause
Yeah,
you want them to be separate.
but would that be in their fee? The commissioning agent? Is
That
that,
would be-
so that's a separate
I think that's,
third party coming in?
yeah, they'd help us develop those costs.
The last two
Yeah,
times
CM
owner direct, it was contracts with the town and SES.
So it's conflict of interest for them.
Okay, all right. Yeah, no, there's a reference to coordinating with it. It wasn't clear, I can't remember if it was actually to engage them.
So in order to do this the most economical way, they've gotta all be going together. If that's the intent of the town, somebody's gotta get on board with that. So just awarding a contract for CM, we're gonna need Fryer to get ahead of the curve. And he's gonna wanna have somebody in there taking samples, seeing what we have for problems, right? Right, whatever. So we're gonna do that right away.
PFAS.
So you're gonna sign the paper for that, because we'll just move ahead.
No problem.
Well, we have two proposals from Fryer, one for Griswold, one for Hubbard. I think each one's about 26.5.
I mean, we just gotta get,
So what's the ARPA money, will there be an account to pull from, which is good, because before there was nothing. It was, Kevin was saying, oh,
so
you.
the problem is we're missing the summer with these guys.
Right,
I think where they could have gone into all the schools. They take a crew of guys and say, okay, go into this school first, go into this school, go into this school, then we have all the information for all three schools right now.
Are you aware, Doug, or anybody in your area of other towns that have beaten us to the punch on this? I know we're ahead of probably most towns doing something like this, given the fact that the state is looking to throw a lot of money around. But I'd like to, if we could find out if, pick a town, somebody did it with 4 elementary schools, how they handled synchronizing. They close one school and send everybody from school A. I mean, I did that in they'll say no. That's what happened to us when I grew up in New Jersey. They closed schools every year.
Double
Shifted.
session.
We turned out all right.
1930, they didn't care.
Yeah, one room.
You're going over to Sister Martha's house tonight, don't worry about it.
To your point, my understanding is we're ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other schools that are just starting to explore this.
Nothing I could jump on it, but from what we've heard, I'm sure you've heard, is people are talking about it, there's nothing actively planned for the summer. And there's some work, but it'll pick up quick.
So that being said, prior to that, we did two schools, if you have to do anything, one, that, three, anything else, get all that done. Get the CM on board, get it all going. Yeah, like nothing might be on order, and we won't have it delivered until the end of next
Well,
summer.
if we don't start,
But if we don't get going, if you don't do it now,
ordered.
yeah, you can be able to order it this fall, I think. Be on the street.
The manufacturer's rep did give us some information that if we were to hypothetically order what's been spec'd out, 6 to 8, 10, 1 week, varying depending on unit and literature. The
I mean, that
gear,
gives you time to do all the
Gears,
overhead work, all that stuff.
Every gear manufacturer I've talked to is over here.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who you use because the materials
It
out
sounded
there.
like the last thing I saw between you and Don was that he's trying to get away from switchgear, right? Go to additional panel bus I started reading it, I was getting a headache.
Yeah, I think, well, nothing changed on the drawings. I know there was some back and forth, I think it was on Hubbard, when CES said, hey, you guys have a problem with this, and then Don had some comments, and I think it was rerouting it, and they said they had looked at a different route, and it wasn't gonna
So
work.
there was no room.
Yeah, there was no room for it, so that was, effectively squashed, so. That was,
The electrical land at all three schools has good switchgear.
but Hubbard needed like secondary feeders.
One of them has new feeders, the other two are reused, the existing
Right,
infrastructure.
and that's why Hubbard, the cost estimate was a little, was higher, and Don picked up on that.
All new duct bank.
Yeah, so that explains one of the areas of difference estimates, so. Okay, so I'll take another shot at the CMRFB. For fire proposals, I guess I should go back and make sure they're still current, but you guys wanna get them authorized to get Griswold and Hubbard, those packages together as best we can. The cost estimates, we got the, I think it was, let's, which one came second? Keys came second, yeah. So we now have both estimates, and I know you guys are talking about having a special session with each company to, question them on, review the cost estimates and any questions you had. To me, it's the extent of the ceiling tiles, some of the repair work, like how much, what did they assume, and some of that stuff. But I'm sure Don, Jim, you guys have other questions, so no meeting was scheduled. So what do you want to do? Do you want to have just taken a look at the estimates, now that you have both? Or?
I think, to Don's point, it's like the next best thing is to go out and just get action quotes.
Oh, so we know the order of magnitude?
Yeah, we've got a rough idea.
Okay, so
I think
no further vetting or anything like that?
I think they're a little light on contingencies from where we're at.
Well, you could put a PVC contingency on.
Yeah, the only thing I'm thinking about with that CM thing is, I think we should ask for cost for exploratory in all three schools.
Okay. For environmental?
Right.
Yeah.
And additional
And maybe even
construction
other stuff too.
right. Additional construction administration will be, based on need, but the exploratory to coordinate the work, I think we're gonna want all three schools done at once.
Right, okay. Yeah, that's part of pre-construction.
So, update our drawings, get them primed to bid, and we're ready to go.
The town has on calls with 5 different firms, so they can just put a package together and get prices.
For hazardous?
Yeah, has the ability, they've got this 5 on calls.
Okay.
Other 5 or 6, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean more for
But
conflicts,
Well,
right?
yeah, but
Yeah.
I'm just, if it's conflicts, what I think, yeah, just to kind of
Open up the ceiling, look at areas,
look at what we have on file for that, and then maybe do a little more testing just for verification.
make sure mechanicals and everything that they're coordinating, when,
Seems like even though we think we know where everything is, something always pops up.
Oh, there's definitely something.
Is there working in there for the CM to be responsible for phasing coordination with the active school as far as making sure mechanical?
I think it is, yeah, that's.
And all systems are functional for the students and all that.
yeah, that's all. Yeah.
Johnson meetings,
No doubt.
claims.
You could look, I would check, but I would think all systems active for school, or
Okay.
for school activities, that's, yeah.
Oh, I'll have tons of questions after, for the next draft.
The biggest things are auditoriums, gathering spaces for Christmas programs and the school year. It's big.
Basically logistics.
Especially for little kids going in. Same. Sometimes the principal will say, oh, we'll do it in the calf. You just gotta be aware of it. You just need to be aware of it. Make sure you get some free concert tickets, Mark.
Well, I'd like the record to show that in the 1961-62 school year, Ira W. Travell School in Richmond, New Jersey, when we took in Mr. Adler's third grade class from Glen School, our teacher was Miss Jones. All the boys from Glen School, from Mr. Adler's class, were ecstatic to come to that class because we were all in love with Miss Jones. She wore high heels.
Ooh.
1961. I still remember. She had a big maroon Buick special car. We were all in love with her. So my point is,
See if Mrs.
it can
Jones
work.
is available.
Miss Jones.
I'll check.
Miss Jones. She's probably 100
I'll give her
by
a
now.
call.
High heels aren't so high anymore.
The orthopedic consultants.
So Doug,
Memory can't erase.
all this stuff, would that be the CM sort of
Yeah, just
coordination?
questions that come up, hey, what do we do, what about this, what about that?
Yeah.
Is this included, is this covered, are we gonna do it with the project?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of stuff we're talking about, Doug, I mean, is wherever construction affects it is one thing, but I'm not sure we're going around to remodel the school, right?
Definitely corridor ceilings, classroom ceilings, if they can be blended in. or-
Unless we cut open a slab, we're not doing floors. Paint walls, I mean, get into a situation where a wall's gotta be blown out because we have to access it or something, and there's new construction, obviously, but I'm not sure we're painting the school either.
Taking the opportunity, mostly for ceiling, hallway ceilings, and Willard was the only one still with some ACM for the floor top. So I figured while the school shut down under construction, it'd be a good time to bait it, instead of have to go back another summer and do it, try to work it into the project.
But, you know, when you start cutting into floor tiles and stuff, you get involved with all sorts of stuff.
So that,
In
the only
his
thing with
area.
that would be to check what
Yeah.
that money is to be used for. And if the town wants to allocate some additional funds to take care of that, that's a whole nother story.
That, I think still with council and board of finances, our $5 million one-time expense, which triggers the referendum, if we're gonna exceed that, do it as put a bond, 10 or 15 million, or arbitrarily, whatever the project value may be, that would trigger a referendum, or if we're gonna do it over, one project every couple of years, those things have been going back and forth too.
Yeah, the 5 million of ARPA doesn't trigger any referendum, but bonding does over 5 million.
So we
Five
just,
$5 million doesn't
we
get
just
you-
gotta get that other legwork done so that we're ready.
The overall cost.
So it means we get the 5 million from ARPA, and then we get another 4 million?
Well, Doug's saying if you want another, if you make it an $11 million project, then it's a referendum involved. And right now, 5 plus, 4.9999, we're okay.
Was that, and that's over every year, or is that a total?
For the project.
I think it's it's also how you define the project, I think, where you can, if you just do, like Doug's saying, if you do Willard, that money, I think is, if you do Griswold and Hubbard as a project together or each one separately, then the referendum rules may not apply.
The bonding-
So,
the bonding
yeah, the
costs
bonding,
go towards,
So
So,
Kevin's friend, Mr. Ahern,
yes,
what's today's date?
19.
June 2022. Long way from when I was in third grade. What do you think it's gonna cost, all in, to do these preschools?
Well, we have
Just your best estimate, just for giggles.
me,
Yeah.
9 million.
It's close.
I mean, if we don't include any of right now we have 2 cost estimates. So say 4.7, say 4.8, right? 4.8, okay, I'm low, you're right. But I don't have any idea Willard, there's more work in there, correct? As far as inside work,
the biggest of
it's more unit ventilators.
and so the cost estimates we have.
Doug, what do you think it's gonna cost?
16.
Ooh, nice.
Somebody's gonna ask that question, and we're playing around with.
We can't do it until we get the drawings
I
done.
understand that, but we're playing around with all 5 million and 4 million. All in, we should work backwards, say, look, we estimate it's gonna cost somebody's gonna ask even before we get all these numbers back. It'll be a $16 million nut, and we're gonna have to work backwards on how to slot in $16 million over various town budgets during the next 3 to 4 years.
Correct me if I'm wrong, didn't the council budget meeting in the winter have 5 million budgeted for each school? I feel like I saw that.
They were, well, I think Kevin, I think he was using around 5 or 6.
Per school,
Yeah.
is what I saw.
It's almost like, it might have been, and I know the mayor thinks it's 18 million, he thinks it's six times 3.
So,
Well,
So
that's
that-
good.
Yeah, no, I think they weren't happy about it.
Well, that's, at least somebody is honest
Well, it's
about,
the
look, it's gonna
future,
cost this
future
town.
plan.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, well,
because you can't just do one.
yeah, but as long as we have the money to do all the upfront work,
Right.
and then not bump into either referendum or otherwise for the next 5 or 6 for each construction project, let's get the things going that we get going, we gotta get down there. Get those in place and then work about trucks. If the project now is all the upfront stuff, the front end, and then the projects are each of the builds, and do that way. Satisfy the referendum.
And, you know, the referendum isn't like a kill shot.
No, but I'm just, I mean, just,
I know,
Depends when it comes.
yeah,
slow things down.
and you know, the price of gas at the time too.
Okay, we beat this one to death.
Yeah, I don't think I have, one last item on this, the 100% drawings for Griswold and Hubbard. Donna pointed out, get them stamped and sealed, and safe, ready for construction. Now we're talking about the CM, looking at it. We're holding 2 bills for
It's just
CES.
Just a revision, a bulletin. He's got some changes.
Okay, so-
We'll issue-
Do you want me to request them to get stamped and sealed, and then we just wrap that thing up
I
and
don't
say,
think they're gonna
okay?
have, that's gonna happen, but we can
Oh.
try.
It's gonna hold a professional speak.
Yeah, we could try. If you didn't request that at the beginning when you sent out the quote, you're gonna ask for more money. You can try.
Well, there was
And it might even be
supposed to
better
be
to do it once
100%.
we have a CM on board, is to get.
Typically, you have to ask for stamped,
Yeah,
sealed documents.
I forgot what they had. Yeah, we were a little loose on, that's what we just said, do it.
Well, they should, if you want a finished product, they should stamp and seal on their way out of the product.
Yeah, just ask them.
I will. And I'll check their scope,
You should record the comments you get back, just so we can. Blah, 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 blah.
You can't hear what they say.
All right, I'll check the scope and see what they,
Construction documents, just ask them.
I will.
If you're getting a fun product, you should be stamped and signed.
Yeah, they're meant to be colored, they're meant to be CDs, so it doesn't say, all right, I'll have to go into the terms and conditions or something. But I'll ask, so you know what?
They need the stamp drawings.
Yeah.
Just ask them.
Or get a date, and they'll ask them.
They need the stamp drawings.
Okay,
In places.
That works good enough, we move. What about these invoices, are we in a position to finally pay them?
well, why don't I ask, I'll say, we're gonna process your bills, but we need to stamp drawings. How about that? You like that?
Yeah, we could vote for it and then
You like that?
you can hold it hostage.
Yeah, they're ready to approve them.
I just need the final documents.
Now, Tom already signed them, right?
I crossed one out, I left the other 2 signed.
Okay.
I get it used up.
But that doesn't mean I have to do anything with them. I can hold them at Lisa's desk room. They're signed.
You should
They're
prove it.
April invoices.
Okay, well, I'll call him tomorrow.
And I'll,
Based on receiving the final drawings, this final stamped documents,
And
we authorize you.
speaking of which, I'll check the scope, but so far, all we've got is PDFs. Do we want
CAD.
One set, do you want anything else?
Yeah, we don't want PDFs, we want electronic files.
Yeah,
I wonder if we,
They can do their own.
If they do them, that's not really,
They can go along.
well, PDFs we'll get anyway, but, as far as, is there a need for a hard copy in this day and age? Okay. So are you saying AutoCAD, the actual?
Yeah, but no, seriously, they're gonna do them, they're gonna take the catalog off, they're gonna take any regular stuff off.
Right,
At least have the base stuff, so
yeah.
wanted something in the future, you've gotta.
Oh, I know, I believe you me, I know. It's when you don't have it, you're like, damn, I wish I had. What's
just
this?
don't
Well, the
tell them.
CM's gonna ask right away,
Yeah,
Yeah, 2035. Oh, it doesn't work, it doesn't.
and the CM's gonna come in and say that the architect and the mechanical contractor didn't use the same scale.
That's gonna be on that factor as well.
Yeah, so they should not only give us the CAD file, but also tell us where the reference point is, right, on both drawings?
Yeah. That makes it easier if they rotate it.
Okay, since I struggled to get out of the third grade,
Apparently, you're still stuck in
I'm still
third.
stuck staring at Miss Jones. Do we need to approve these, or have they already been approved?
I think we already did
They're
it based on.
sitting there.
getting-
What's that,
They have not gone to finance.
so I
That
think,
doesn't matter, going to finance or having us approve them are two different things.
I think it
Did
was.
we approve these in the
What?
minutes?
I think they were approved subject to the final review of the 100%, that everyone was said, yes, it's okay, like, it's been blessed.
Okay,
And-
$5,850, right?
Right.
Yep, and then $4,500.
so, yes,
Yeah, we,
and then we have a forward, he went for 3,300.
3,300? From CES.
That wasn't in the.
That was
Forward.
already.
Was at the last meeting, because I signed it and then crossed it out, because we agreed not to pay.
On which one?
Forward.
Yeah, because I think you guys wanted to have the, like the review meeting.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
Before, so that was held back,
Yeah,
the cost estimate.
process.
Yes.
Yeah. And Keys Group did not invoice us yet, so I think they're considering what they sent in a draft, just like Fogarty probably is.
Does anybody have anything else they wanted to see on Fogarty's?
Yeah, I might have a few, I might actually ask them, what extent of ceiling tile, floor tile, replacement and service did they factor in, I mean, just.
Let's get right there, lump sum.
Or what his thinking was, the estimator. I mean, he probably just looked at the drawing and said, okay, you're punching a hole here, you're punching a hole here, I'm gonna assume 3 square feet or whatever, and for each punch, and add them all up. I know, it's an art.
I was given cost estimates today, and this is magnitude numbers.
Yeah.
It's not real numbers, this is just magnitude.
You know who's really good at that? Jim Warble.
Yeah.
Everything's like $300,000. I'm like, what's that number? He goes, well, I know it's not gonna be, more than that.
So we can't go back to these guys in an invoice and say, well, our magnitude is from 0 to 58,000.
That's why I'm right, that's
All right, so-
Are we gonna pay this or hold it?
So he didn't give any ceiling tiles, he gave $2,000 from this batch.
Are you looking at forwarding?
Only trade support. He's got a total of $127,000. And he's got a contingency.
Design contingency, it's nothing.
Oh, he's 100,000, yeah, for
46.
modification of existing walls for pipe chase, $1,000. Patch and paint, 2,000. Protection of area cleanup, $25,000.
2,000. It could be anywhere, those numbers.
Miscellaneous, 30 locations. Oh, no, I'm sorry, $2,000 each, $60,000, I'm sorry.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
two
No,
grand.
I was on the wrong column, I was on the unit cost column, sorry.
You know what it seems like?
You feel better at 60?
You know what Fogarty's looks like? He didn't take, I think we talked about him looking at the Willard drawing, the architectural drawings, and using that as a basis to estimate.
You thought he just put this on, like, door.
He
Well,
looked at,
he had the CES, he had the whole package, he had the CES MEPs too, so.
right, and the Willard architecturals, but it does not look like he took architecturals into account.
Oh, no, I get what you're saying, yeah. No, you're right, he used the approach for the exterior chiller, and everything else,
Right, so
because we
he's
didn't
like,
have that.
so this 2.7 is 28 is not. It's missing really.
You're saying because he didn't have the architectural.
Because he didn't consider, it doesn't look like he considered it. There's no ceiling tile replacement, it just says paint as needed.
Well, I can, like I said, I'm probably gonna have some questions, about that, like the stuff that Doug was raising, floor tile, ceiling tile.
That's also look at.
How about the two CES invoices? Are we okay to let these go?
We're gonna request a stamp,
Stamp.
drawings, and the electronic
Okay.
files.
All right,
Okay, so I hate to say hold them, but hold them.
I'm not gonna hold these.
Okay, yeah. Lisa, calm down, that it's not a big number for these guys. And they're gonna get more work anyway, so.
All right. New business. Good, none. Agenda format. Don't know why that's on there. Can you explain yourself?
Yeah, because I actually have some information on the truck wash, so I'd like to have, we should like to have
New business.
us, well, actually, it's old business.
All business.
So, some agendas have old business and they can carry, like because Jimmy keeps asking about the Berlin High School closeout, what's happening with that?
Always
So so the structure, we can either have an old business, category with nothing underneath, and then
Yes.
what, we just can talk
You can
about
have new
anything we
business
want?
and old business with nothing underneath, and
I
that's.
don't care how you do it,
Okay.
as long as we can talk about it.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm getting at, so I'm not the Robert Rules person, but if.
motion to talk about the truck wash.
You're out of order for a second.
Yeah, that's
The
right.
format for new business and old business is 4 words. New business,
Okay,
next line down,
Old
old
business, okay.
business, and then it's wide open.
got it, okay.
And anybody who wants to
We wanted to make
put
sure
something
you
in
guys,
for the good of the order, we can put that in there and do so. Right. Now, Clark,
Yes. I make a motion, we add old business and talk about the truck wash.
we don't need that old business,
Yeah, it's
we
already
already
set
got
up.
it here.
on the agenda, yeah,
We don't need-
we wanted to make sure you didn't want something where you wanna actually have a tickler, like, you know, that keep like the old business, so no one forgot about it, so.
We'll just keep those.
You could always add into old business if there's a topic you wanna make sure you don't.
Well, right now, it's even better, it's wide open,
Wide
as
open.
Tom said, both new and old.
Yes,
So, okay, if that covers us, I'm fine with it.
yes.
We just wanted to make sure you guys were okay with it.
So we don't wanna hear about the truck wash.
No, you do, you do, no, it's very easy. You look at the clock. I'm gonna give you 2
No.
minutes.
Lisa's doing
You're the expert on.
All right, so Kevin is willing to go to we got $260,000 from FEMA for Isaias, that storm. So since it was mainly highway garage guys and public grounds, his thinking was we use that, request the town council to put that into the truck wash account. It doesn't take us all the way. We're about $250 short without even adding the touchless system.
I thought we had 500 for.
We have 500, we need $1 million.
Oh,
So 500 plus the 260 makes us, we're still short like 250. Just for the building and setting things up
Here, just-
for the, thanks,
Put the
Jim.
thermometer up there, we'll start.
Yeah, so his question is this: do we want to bid, put another bid out and get the actual numbers before he goes to town council? Or,
It's not gonna
it
be.
might come back a million for eight,
well,
Brian.
I know, that's what he's saying, and I said, yeah, and I actually called up the truck wash guy, and he said his numbers, his lead time doubled on the thing, but he was taking a few things out. It didn't look like that big of an increase, but the building, I think, Rosa went up, I don't know, 50 or 60 grand after the 6 month, the 60-day, bid period, bid holding period was up. So I know it's, that was a year ago, it was last August. So, okay, so the decision is to rebid it, get the actual number, which is the safest way, and then go to the town council and say, okay, we have the actual numbers, we have 260 from FEMA, we can take fund balance, use fund balance for the shortfall, and let them make the decision.
That's good
Yes.
to me.
That gives them the most informed.
Oh, well, it's the safest way to go.
Which garage door are we using?
We're using two. They're about $9,000 each.
So you're just gonna reprocess that RFP and go on again.
Yeah. So would you like me to send it out again?
We need to make a motion.
I believe you do, yes.
Make a motion, we reissue the bid documents for the wash bay, truck wash bay, to go out to bid once again.
Second,
Second that.
all in favor? Anybody opposed or abstained? Okay,
Just one additional question on that. To get money from fund balance requires 3 meetings. If we time it right, we can probably do those in the 60-day bid period.
Get it out there as fast as you want.
No, what I'm saying is it even reasonable to ask a bidder to hold beyond 2 months? Like, is it, like, say another 15 days?
So just put it on.
Okay, all right, have you guys seen that in the marketplace?
Just put it on there, all they'll do is take an exception to it, just gotta read the qualifications.
Okay, all right. Because that will give us a little more cushion in case we have to, whatever the meetings, it takes longer to actually get the money and then just.
You gotta advertise for how many days? Is it 30 to 15 days?
We
or
usually
20 days?
use 3 weeks to a month.
So there's, you gotta get your RFP process,
I think
right?
14
Yes.
is by charter or something.
Yeah, we're always over that.
14 business days?
So it's gonna take you a couple weeks to get ready to go back out to get that out there, you're already at a month and a half, and you're gonna ask for 3 months, whatever you need.
Okay, all right, I just was gonna like get your input on that. It'd be nice to just throw a little more cushion on the 60, because we ran out of time last time, you know.
We're still proprietary.
Yes.
Mr. Jones was passed.
Just for you to know, I was just checking out her high heels.
That's right. Your eyes.
That's it for me.
She also wanted me to tell you there's gonna be a test in cursive writing.
I'll just let you know that I was born in 1961.
I got caught listening to the Yankees Reds World Series with a transistor radio taped to my side, the earpiece like this, and I was really good until Roger Maris hit a home run and I went, yeah! Right in the middle of class. All of a sudden, oops. She liked me. I didn't get into too much trouble. She didn't tell my parents.
Nothing else? Make a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor? Very good.
Thanks. Good night, gentlemen. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thanks, Doug.
Thanks, Doug. Glad you were here.
Good to see you.